Hello and welcome. My name is Dychronic, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to take a look at the leaks that we've been receiving over the past month, and honestly, there have been a lot of leaks about things like power, exotic armor changes, exotic weapon changes, the new stuff coming to the season, as well as some drama, because apparently Bungie has figured out who has been leaking all their stuff over the last few years, and they pinned it on one person. We'll talk about that in this video. And again, I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos talking about this stuff over the last month. I wanted to wait for the dust to settle to have a more and better understanding of what's actually going on and the confirmations from Bungie themselves. And in case you're not familiar with my work, I actually make a lot of spreadsheets for exotic armors, for different weapons, for both PvP and PvE, and I've looked at every single weapon on Light.gg for stat comparisons, perk recommendations for the last 3 to 4 years. And I have a very good understanding of the meta, and I want to give you my interpretation of what these changes will actually mean to the game. And a shout out to my buddy Waffle, who actually collated this information for me. It really does help a lot. And if you have something that you think would be interesting for me to comment on, let me know in the comments down below. Moving on, let's go ahead and get into it. First of all of this information came from a user known as Freezing Dart on Discord. He posted a bunch of pictures and images from a community summit that Bungie held with all this information leaking, and a lot of it has been confirmed. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this post on Game Revolution, just because it's convenient and well organized. We're going to take a look at some of the things that they talked about. First of all, power simplification. Power is now a single account scoped value rather than each individual player, and players can enter any activity at any level and can ignore power levels for most activities, which I assume will make it harder, but they can ignore it. And Fireteam power will allow players to jump right into combat with friends, which is good because a lot of people are missing out on activities and they can't play with friends. So more opportunities to play with friends is better. Furthermore, power levels from 1 to 100, completing weekly and seasonal challenges will give you 1 to 3 power levels. You can see on screen right now a picture of that. And you can gain 1 power level for XP as well, but the focus will be on completing challenges. So essentially, instead of focusing on just the pinnacle grind, which is kind of annoying because you're very limiting on the game, you get to do anything. And obviously the higher levels will give you things faster, but the lower levels can be done too, which I think is, again, a good way to go about it. And furthermore, there are no more gear infusions. You don't have to infuse gear, and let me tell you, that's annoying. When you're just going into a raid and you're like, I guess I'll use some tractor cannon. Oh wait, it's 1600 and I don't have a heavy to infuse into it. It doesn't feel good, it's not interesting, and I'm glad that they're making a change to it. Overall, I think I'm happy with the direction the power's going in. I think it's going to be a good thing. Next up, we have the Unexpected Resurgent, a new arc adaptive glaive for Season 21 Trials weapon. I don't care. I don't play Trials, and we had a glaive for the vendor weapon this season, and it's a glaive, nobody cares. Following that, just gonna skip to this one right here, the weapon rebalancing. Submachine guns will have a reduced base damage. We kind of saw this coming. Both PvP and PvE, they are very strong, and I kind of agree. Rapid fire fusion rifles have more burst damage, which I disagree with completely. Right now, I think the rapid fire fusion rifles are the best in the game. I've measured their damage, and they by far have the best DPS and best total ammo damage. The only thing they're lacking on is maybe availability and range, and that's not really a big issue. It has decent range anyway. So I don't know what they're smoking here. Maybe they're talking about just PvP. Following that, trace rifles have increased base damage. Trace rifles do need a buff, but I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I really don't know what they can do about it. Sniper rifles have 10% more PvE damage. Very good. And if you don't know, back in Shadowkeep, they got a 20% damage buff, and then they reversed that after Shadowkeep because they're like, it's too much, people are using snipers too much, which in my opinion was a bad move. And finally, they're moving that pendulum back in the middle, which I think is good, but I do think snipers need more reserve ammo. Moving back, let's go ahead and take a look at the new weapons, including the seasonal and dungeon weapons. Firstly, there are 6 new Take and Reckoning weapons, a stasis aggressive submachine guns. I like aggressive machine guns. A strand rapid fire pulse rifle. More strand options is always good, and I like rapid fires. A strand rapid fire sniper, which I don't really like snipers, and rapid fires are one of the worst for PvE. A strand rapid fire shotgun might be okay. A void aggressive hand cannon we don't really need, and a strand vortex sword, which gives us more options in strand. So a lot more strand weapons. Really depends on the perks and the combinations to see if they're good. Following that, dungeon weapons, the new oceanic dive equipment, including a stasis waveframe breach grenade launcher. And if you don't understand what that means, stasis is in the first slot. So we have a new waveframe special armor grenade launcher in the first slot, which is the first one we've ever received. A solar rapid fire glaive. Technically, there are no other rapid fires other than the exotics, which are not technically rapid fires. I don't care about glaives. I don't think it's going to be useful. Solar aggressive submachine gun, in case you don't want or cannot get the one you want from Gambit, which is another solar aggressive. And a stasis aggressive rocket launcher, which is the same frame as Bump in the Night. We got a few seasons ago. If you missed it, might have Choke Clip, which is a very popular perk on Bump in the Night. Overall, some weapons that I like the rocket launcher, submachine gun, the stasis waveframe grenade launcher. Everything else, I don't know. Moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at the next page, the MSN page, with more information. It'll talk a little bit more about the weapon changes, the exotic weapons, and the armor changes that I'm going to be giving you very specific opinions about. These opinions will be based on, again, my knowledge about a lot of this stuff. Firstly, the Salvation's Grip will now shoot a regular explosive grenade in its uncharged mode, while the charge mode gives you stasis crystals. Really don't think that's going to be very important, especially with the Verglass curve from this season. It's just much easier. The Graviton Lance will, on the other hand, have increased rate of fire, matching Revision Zero's 2-shot burst, which I guess is okay, and the damage between the 2 shots will be equalized. In my opinion, just makes it a Revision Zero for the energy slot, which some people may like. I don't think it's going to be very interesting. Following that, for Eyes of Tomorrow, ammo will be refunded if the players lock on and kill 4 targets in a single volley. And I think it already has bonuses for getting kills with a single volley, and I think this is very, very good, because getting your ammo back for just seeing a big group of enemies and killing them all is something that's fun. Is it going to be game-breaking? No, because the bosses and the majors are going to be the usual problem. I think this is very, very good because Gjallarhorn is just better. Giving all the other Legendary Rockets Gjallarhorn Wolfpack rounds, it's never going to be better than that. So lean into your strengths, not your weaknesses. Good update. Wardline Zero's Tesseract ability will chain into itself. I assume you use that heavy attack that dashes forward, that you can just use it again to the next target. Might be interesting, but a lot of ammo. And Tommy's Matchbook will now have Scorch installed with the Catalyst, which Scorch is cool and it will do more damage because they keep igniting and exploding, and Ignition actually does a lot of damage, but I feel like I'll just use Incandescent on stuff. I'd rather just use Incandescent. I think it's just like 2 incandescent hits and people ignite, right? Up next, let's take a look at the exotic armors. These are going to be, in my opinion, the bigger changes, and I'm very excited for a few of these. First up, the Warlock Astrocide Burst. Is it not called Astrocide Verse? I think it's called Astrocide Verse, which is going to be the exotic that's based on Blink, making Blink better in every way. Small suppressing burst created upon blinking will make it better. May be able to shut down supers in PvP, which where Astrocite is used a lot more. Is it going to be game breaking? I don't know. It really depends. Currently, the best supers are going to be things like Bubble and Well, and it probably will not turn those off. After that, Chromatic Fire. That's going to be the one where you get a headshot and you get a Dragonfly explosion in the element that you do. And the explosions will apply subclass effects like Scorch, Volatile, etc. Could be a little bit more fun. I don't know what it does with Strand. Does it suspend? We'll have to see. I don't think it's going to be amazing. Claws of Ahamkara, the double melee gloves. Orbs spawned on power. Orbs of power spawned from powered melee kills. It's a little typo. I don't think this is going to be enough. We have enough ways to make orbs all over the place. Do we need more orb creation? And furthermore, does this make me want to use it? Claws of Ahamkara is only ever used with good Warlock melees, which there are not a lot of. Celestial Fire and the Ball Lightning are kind of the only ones that come to mind, and they're not as good as they used to be. Mantle of Battle Harmony, removal of the stacking damage buff. But why? Nobody uses this exotic, but why? Ophidian Aspect, removal of the melee lunge distance. Everybody uses this in the Crucible. If you are a Warlock playing PvP, you should be using Ophidian Aspect, and this will make it a lot worse. Albeit, the handling, the swap speed, the reload is still part of it, which is very good. I still think it'll be a great PvP exotic, but this will hurt it significantly. And maybe this will help with the whole melee teleporting thing that Warlocks have, which is really annoying. Sanguine Alchemy, one of the worst exotics in the game. Small damage bonus to your weapons when matching element types to subclass in Rift. I hate when they say matching element subclass thing, it just gets confusing. Here's the problem. Small damage bonus, is it better than Empowering or Well? If no, hot trash. If yes, completely broken. We'll have to see. After that, Vesper of Radius. Whenever you're near a bunch of enemies, you get your Rift faster. Periodic shockwaves emitted from the Rift blind enemies while on Stormcaller. Encourages you to be on Arc. Focuses on arc stuff, which I really like when things focus, like with Starfire Protocol. This seems a lot more like a PvP thing. Getting more rifts, obviously with the healing, getting the Ball Lightning, which is a decent melee there. Shockwaves from the rifts will be maybe kind of like the freezing shockwave we see from Stasis. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but it could be pretty good. But is it better than Stag? I don't know. After that, we have the Titans. First up, Dune Marchers. We saw it coming. It should have been nerfed, let's be honest, years ago. Significant reduction in chaining damage in PvP in the range of all modes. Right now, I think it's like 20 meter like chain lightning. That's ridiculous. Definitely deserved, but you know, as a Titan main, it makes it a bit sad. Eternal Warrior, total rework. Good. A Total Warrior is useless right now because it used to be a swappable exotic in trials and competitive, and now you can't swap without losing your super. Total Rework arc kills grant an escalating arc weapon damage bonus and full arc damage bonus after Fist of Havoc. So you still have to use Fist of Havoc, which is the non-missile super, and it gives you an arc damage bonus, kind of like we have with Mask of Bacchus probably. Is this gonna be good? I don't think so. If you're looking at it for DPS, Missile with Falling Star is likely gonna be a lot better. If you're looking at it with Hothead, for example, I don't think you can make up enough damage. And I don't know if it stacks with the other empowering and debuff stuff. I think this one is going to be strictly just for killing ads. And they still need to make Fist of Havoc way better. They buffed it significantly this season and it's still trash. Following that, Kepri's Horn, application of Scorch. Who cares? Like, let's say, best case scenario. Forward and back, it needs 2 hits and it ignites the target. Ignition does a lot of damage. Great, cool. Is it worth it? I don't know. After that, Path of the Burning Steps. If you don't know, it has a stacking bonus for matching subclass or something, and it can technically give you, at ×4, the highest damage bonus in the game, tied up with Banner Shield, which is cool. And now, they're making it so it removes the stacking damage bonus with Damage Surge mods, which are also going to be doing a Mask of Bacchus, we'll see a little bit later, and I really don't like this, because it makes the game more complicated. I have to remember which exotics work with strand mods and which ones don't, and certain exotics that I want to use with certain damage mods for DPS, now I can't, and nobody used Path of the Burning Steps for damage anyways, because it's not worth the trade-off from Falling Star. Like, there's just so many reasons why this is bad, and I don't like it. Following that, the Point Contact Cannon Brace, otherwise known affectionately as the PCCB, otherwise known as the terrible hot trash burn in a fire worst exotic in the game. Jolts enemies, good. Increased PvE damage, good. And an amplified effect changes increase the damage rather than range, good. I think those are all good things. If you don't know, that Falcon Punch melee does a lot of damage. It's almost like rocket launcher level damage, but those extra lightning effects literally didn't kill a red bar in Patrol. There is nothing weaker than a red bar in Patrol. I don't know what they're doing with those lightning strikes. I hope that they're doing a lot more damage. Does this make it broken? No, I don't think so. Heart of Inmost Light, Falling Star probably will still be better. Following that, the Second Chance, which is going to be the double charge barrier rounds gloves for the shield throw, weakening enemies on shield throw and refunding a charge when stunning barrier champions. Second part works very well as far as the niche goes. It makes it so you can actually depend on an ability to stun champions, but we have so many ways to stun champions these days, we don't need this. Weaken effect is actually pretty nice because it gives you an alternative to the grenade part of obviously the weakening grenades with that fragment, but we do have the weaken effect from the grenades. Do we really need it? Am I going to use this over Ursa? No. Probably not. And finally, Stronghold. Restoration provided after blocking with a sword. At first, I thought this was going to be bad, but theory crafting, I think this is actually going to be quite good. If you don't know, Stronghold maximizes your sword stats, which means you can hold it up for a much longer time. You can block a lot more damage. It resists a lot more damage and allows you to just block really effectively. And if you don't know, blocking with a sword reduces the damage taken significantly, something that people overlook constantly. It's basically free damage reduction if you're blocking with a sword. And on top of that, restoration after blocking means you can heal through the damage you're taking that's also damage resisted. Combine that up with Woven Mail, you're basically unkillable. Here's the problem though. As soon as you stop blocking, that restoration might not be enough to keep you alive. So I think they should also add on top of this, maybe like a jolt effect when you perfect block, so you can actually have some crowd control. Or maybe a suppression or disorient effect, so you can actually deal damage to a boss. Following that, let's take a look at the Hunter ones. First up, Athos' Embrace, a pretty good exotic for both PvP and PvE. The weighted knife energy granted on rapid precision hits. The fact that it doesn't require a kill like the rest of this exotic is very, very strong. This exotic has very good tracking in PvP, allowing you to get those headshots very easily, and if you're getting the extra damage bonus by getting those rapid precision hits, you can one-shot to the body, which is really cool. And in PvE, something that not a lot of people know about, the damage bonus is kind of crazy. Weighted knife with a 1-2 punch shotgun, or at least when I tested a couple seasons ago, stacked together to give you 300,000 damage against Carl. Again, a few seasons ago before the nerf, 300,000 damage is a lot. Rockets do like 70,000 to Carl. So if you can get your weighted knife more often very easily, that's a good thing. Even though we do have Gambler's Dodge, it sounds like it'll be fun. After that, Mask of Bacchus. You increase the damage bonus, but no longer get the stacking damage with Surge mods. I said this before, I don't like this. And the increased damage either implies the arc damage bonus or the bonus that you get from the stasis affected targets. I'm not sure. Overall, I still think it's a PvP exotic, so this is not really important. After that, Oathkeepers, an exotic that's usually only PvP, increased PvE damage per arrow the longer the arrow is held. I don't know if I like this. It'll make it okay for bow stuff, but I feel like it could have been more interesting, like maybe a special effect based on your subclass. That could have been fun. After that, Radiant Dance Machines, extension of the effect's duration through kills. Who cares? Who cares? Why would I want to dodge for 5 seconds? Now I can dodge for 10 seconds? Who cares? After that, we have Reiju's Harness, blinding explosion on deactivating your super and arc damage buff. I think this is a good thing. It encourages you even more to deactivate your super. It makes it safer to deactivate your super. Arc damage bonus leans into it a little bit more. Don't think it really matters that much. Decent bonus. Don't think it's going to be broken. Seodamkara Grass, probably one of the best PvE and PvP exotics for hunters right now, outside of the super base ones. And finally, I wanted to talk about where the leaks come from. Apparently, Bungie has caught who they think has leaked the most recent leaks, as well as the last few years of leaks. From this tweet here, and this is just the document that we've been using, our security and legal teams have reviewed irrefutable evidence, irrefutable, very powerful word here, including video recordings, verified messages, and images demonstrating a pattern over time that confirm the same individual shared confidential information from the community summit spanning multiple years. We are very disappointed to have learned this information and wish that things could have gone differently with this person. We do not take these actions lightly, and we are confident in our decision. This is the final communication on the matter. This is very Bungie-like. They like to just say, we do this, we're not gonna just drag drama through the mud, we know what's happened, we're moving on. They've done this a lot, and they believe it is Ekuegan. G1EK, a somewhat popular streamer on the web. He does lots of streaming, and I assume Grandmaster and Raid helps. And I've actually sent him a message before asking him about his Did You Know videos, because we make some similar content, but never ended up making stuff with him. And here's the thing, he completely denies that he's the one who has been doing these leaks, and Bungie apparently has irrefutable evidence that he does, and so the drama ensues. Firstly, he was banned from Destiny 2. So people ask, why did I quit? I'm banned during Grandmaster season, because he does Grandmaster helps. I am forced to quit, and I have to let my audience know. People put 2 and 2 together from their statement, this statement up here obviously, and you basically wanted me to be witch hunted because you think I'm guilty, but you preach positivity. Something that you'll see many different times, in my opinion, is self-righteousness of him trying to stand in a pedestal and a cause, and of course, just people being ridiculously toxic. And I know from my experience on the internet, people are toxic a lot, especially in comment section, and a lot of the people who are being toxic honestly are just ignorant. People who don't understand the full story, and I want you to take this with a grain of salt, because a lot of these people and a lot of the responses he have to this is just swinging back. And it's just a hard situation to be in, and I would encourage you, when something like this happens, don't just hate on the people that you think deserve hate, because oftentimes it's more complicated than you think. This next one, he talks about loyalty. Other creators, if you're seeing this is what loyalty gets you, hours of positive energy, and your word can't even be taken because it's business first. Cold world that we live in. Essentially saying, hey, I've done a lot of hours of streaming. In my opinion, loyalty, in this regard, it's not important. If they think that you betrayed them, loyalty means that's even worse. Jealous people can't keep you from your destiny. Good night. Again, more self-righteousness. Whoever you are, remember, karma is a bitch. There will be big challenges in your life. Figure out and keep moving. Today is one of those days, I guess. Feels like he's trying to convince himself that he needs to keep moving on, which I guess is a good, powerful message. Again, claiming I did not leak anything. He's very clear that he is not the leaker. All of these comments, again, the toxic comments, people are quick to attack. Please go back to your miserable lives. Again, you'll see this theme throughout a lot of these comments. And I actually have believed a lot of these things too. A lot of people who put these nasty comments on Facebook or on my YouTube videos or on stuff that's just interacting with you on the internet are usually very toxic because of something else going on in their lives, and they're kind of outletting. And this is in part probably true. but not always. Next tweet from April 15th. Good morning. I don't think it's enough about people that have wronged me or situations that have wronged me. I've gotten to a place where I'm happy with who I am in life. I personally know the truth and I know who I am and I'm happy knowing it. Only God can judge me. He does talk about a few religious things throughout this. Again, think that he's finding a self-righteous soapbox to stand on. It does feel like he's trying to gather a cause where people will see, hey, I am righteous, so you should support me. I don't think this is the right direction for him to go, but if it helps him cope with stuff, then I think it's a positive thing. But people do not agree. You can also see who's quick to attack you or bring you down when something happens. This is one of the greatest relief in life. Being religious makes you guilty, huh? Fake positivity and bots on the net, please unfollow. Kind of reiterating what I was just saying. Many people might perceive this whole religious self-righteousness as a way of him potentially, and I'm guessing here, as a way of him saying that, like, I am righteous, I follow God, I am religious, so you should be behind me. And I don't think that religion has a place. If you're a good person, then you are a good person, and that's a great thing, and people should support you and follow you for that reason. But a religion is not a reason why an NDA, which is based in law, should be in consideration. Evidence, facts, and law are the real considerations here. And furthermore, I have to say, if Bungie has evidence, they should provide it at the very least to Ekuegan, especially considering that they probably have the right to sue him very heavily. Anyways, G1 EK goes on, blessing in disguise. I see the real ones. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be very quick to attack you. The people who don't, you can actually see your real friends here. Might be somewhat of a silver lining. Punching bag or not, I'll be here. Time to experience new games. Moving on. Good tweet. I like that. Limafal, 5 to 50 follower accounts. You can do better. Go crawl back to your miserable caves. I don't like this. Saying that somebody doesn't have a lot of followers is the reason why they shouldn't have a valid opinion, I think is a bad idea. I have 160,000 followers on YouTube. It doesn't mean I have a good opinion. As you probably could see in many communities, like for example, fitness communities, having a lot of followers does not make you right. It does not make you good. It does not mean you know what you're doing and you can give advice. It does hold you to a higher standard, but people get around that. So I don't like this tweet. But again, he's in a dark place, and he's swinging. I am human, but not stupid. What I am is loyal. You can see that, though. I am not weak-minded. The mods can come and go, but you won't break my soul. Kind of back and forth on this tweet. I don't think that loyalty is really a big place. If the company bans you because they think it's you, I don't think loyalty matters. From April 18, it's funny because a US fugitive/criminal who plays the game and gets his account recovered all the time is trying to put blame on me. It hasn't been banned for all these years, when there's plenty of proof of it. Interesting how studios care about their own rules, right? From Kim.com, which I don't know Kim.com, I assume he's some other streamer or creator. Bungie has been plagued by leaks for a very long time. Finally, they catch somebody red-handed. EK's story about his computer being hacked for the purpose of leaking Bungie content is utter nonsense. His leaks have probably ruined the fun for gamers for some time. Good catch at Bungie. Obviously, his perspective versus his, and they want to fight from one dude to the other. Again, it seems like EK is trying to rally a cause. Fight with me against this tyranny, but he's the only person in his corner. Might make it a bit difficult. And this leads into something I think it's very important to be very clear on, is going to be the idea of the ethical ramifications of NDAs as it relates to other things. Because a lot of people in these comments are talking about, is it ethical to leak stuff? And how unethical or ethical is it? And here are the things that I understand. First of all, when it comes to an NDA and companies wanting to hold things back until the time is right for them to release it, actually costs them a lot of money. They have to spend a lot of money on creating the game, on the teams that maintain the game, and all the information regarding the game, as well as the marketing that they spend a lot of money on the release, for example, of Lightfall or Season of the Deep. All of that money goes towards making hype. And if people get hype early, they might not have enough hype later to actually buy more stuff. And this has been shown many times. Controlling the hype flow is very important for the money. And if they have less money, they will likely have to fire more people. They cannot hire more people if they have less money. So leaking things is directly related to people's jobs. And obviously, that is not a good thing, especially when it's an NDA, because you have to think, how wrong is it? If you think about, kind of a tangent here, if you think, let me just go over to the MSN page because this is just way too bright. If you think about just ethics in general, something like, for example, killing people, is it immoral to kill somebody? Yes and no. If it's murder, cold-blooded, and they didn't deserve it, then yes, it is very clearly immoral. But what if it's self-defense? What if you're trying to protect somebody? What if, God forbid, your friend was sexually assaulted and you knew who did it and you went up there and you wanted to beat him up and he died in that exchange? It's gray, right? Is that right? Is that wrong? It's so much gray. But with an NDA, there's not a lot of gray. Obviously, breaking an NDA is not nearly as bad as murder, but it's more clearly wrong because it's not only clear in the law, it's also clear that you agree to these terms and you knew exactly what you needed and needed not to do. So in my opinion, breaking an NDA that you signed is clearly wrong. It is clearly the black side of black and white. That being said, I don't think it's a massive thing, and I don't think that Bungie should sue EK for millions of dollars, because that would obviously ruin his life, which I don't know if they're gonna do. They probably won't. And I wanted to take a look at a couple more tweets down here. On April 19th, nobody cares about what really happened. They just want somebody to attack because their lives ain't shit. Again, repeating the whole people just being toxic because their lives are bad. I appreciate all of the engagements. The hate actually helps you grow. Imagine wasting your day to harass somebody you don't know, which, if you didn't know, is also true. Positive or negative interactions on most social media sites actually will make it more popular. It will be pushed to more people. Something like Rebecca Black's Friday had like a 50-to-1 dislike ratio, but it was still super popular. So even if you dislike people on YouTube, you're actually making their videos go higher. And finally, all I know is that this company made a huge mistake and I will clear my name. So clearly saying, hey, I'm gonna clear my name. I'm working on it, don't worry. I see the real ones on my tag, my head is held high, I had a nature day today, and man, getting off the internet felt great. I think this is a great comment. I think this is something you should have focused on more, is the actual facts and the data. Because I've not seen a lot of facts and data. Both sides say, I'm gonna find evidence or I have irrefutable evidence, but where is it? Why are we not talking about it? Where's the information? We gotta have something. So TLDR, I have no idea. I don't have any actual evidence. I trust Bungie as a company, probably more than I trust Ekuegan, but I don't know Ekuegan either. I don't know if it's really him, but I know that it's possible. I know it's not possibly me, because I haven't been invited to a community summit for years. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of it. Let me know in the comments down below if you wanna see more videos like this, where we review drama and stuff going on within the Destiny community, because I'd love to make more. That's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.